Hey there, I'm Steve and welcome to Jamson Entertainment. Today we're talking about Black Panther. I realize I'm wearing a Batman onesie. Had a Black Panther onesie, I would definitely be wearing it. I absolutely love this movie. It's definitely within my top 5 Marvel movies. The movie is beautiful, the soundtrack is beautiful, the acting is fantastic. I don't think this movie could have been done any better. You can most certainly tell that a lot of time, effort, and love was put into this movie. How everything just works together. The soundtrack to this movie grows on me every time I watch it. It makes me want to go out and buy it. I should buy it because it is that great. There's many different themes for different people, and the way the composer did this is just weaving it in and out, or sometimes fading out and then fading in. Just all the different themes in this movie. It's just masterfully done. And the fight scenes are fantastic. My favorite one is the casino fight. The way they just follow each scene is just amazing. Now on to the plot a little bit. This takes place shortly after Civil War, probably within a week or so, a couple of days, a week, something like that. T'Challa is on his way home because his father just died and he needs to go through the ritual steps to become king. And you find out that, yes, it is hereditary, but it's also kind of like voting in, not so much voting in, but ritual combat among the tribes. There are 5 tribes to find out who will be the next king. When you get to that scene, there's only 4 of the 5 there because of the Jabari tribe explained in the opening explained in the opening prologue that the 5th tribe decided to not be part of the other 4 tribes, which kind of leaves a plot hole when it comes to this challenge here. You could argue that the Jabari tribe has no claim to the ritual combat to become king, but if you worry about stuff like that, there's other things in the movies that are going to bother you. It's a comic book movie. Shouldn't read that much into everything. It does not take away that it is another awesome fight scene between 2 warriors, and this one is nail-biting. Even though you kind of know what the outcome is going to be, it could have gone either way. M'Baku could have won, and that could have made an entirely different movie, which, now that I think of it, would have been really interesting. Seeing Killmonger come to M'Baku, what kind of moral dilemma M'Baku would have been in? I don't know. But that's not what happens. T'Challa comes out on top and grants mercy to M'Baku because he knows he's a great leader and his people need him. A subplot in the movie is Andy Serkis's character, Claw, first introduced in Age of Ultron. He stole X amount of vibranium, enough to really make a good profit on the black market. And this happened roughly 30 years ago, they say in the movie. And T'Chaka, the father of T'Challa and former king of Wakanda, who died in Civil War, you find out in the movie, doesn't really do much about Claw. You simply find out that his brother N'Jobo, I think that's how you say it, I'm sorry if I mispronounce it, was a spy in Oakland, California, and he also betrayed Wakanda, N'Jobo, by leading Claw to steal vibranium from Wakanda. Also in this scene, you kind of learn about his son, N'Jaka. Again, sorry if I mispronounce it. His American name is Eric. And he becomes Killmonger because King T'Chaka kills his brother because his brother betrayed Wakanda and was about to kill the secret agent that ultimately becomes the actor Forrest Whitaker. But in this flashback, you see that he's Zori, who is among the nobility. They don't quite show where he is. He's more like an advisor and keeper of the traditions, but right here he's just a secret agent. Like, N'Jobo did not know that, his American alias was James, was Zori from Wakanda. And out of anger, N'Jobo tries to kill Zori for his betrayal to him, but T'Chaka stops him and kills his own brother, which I don't totally agree with. They definitely could have just taken him prisoner instead of just killing his own brother, but the story is heavily based around this one instance, and it would have been completely different if he took him prisoner. Along with that, he does not take his nephew, Eric, with him, And so there builds the resentment of that and how he becomes Killmonger. T'Challa gets an upgraded suit. Normally it's just like a onesie with a helmet, and Shuri upgraded it tremendously, where it's just a necklace with nanites in it. She syncs it to T'Challa, and now he can turn it on and off at will. And an added bonus is that whenever he takes damage significant enough, it absorbs it into kinetic energy and he can release it.
Dog pile!
You know, because he's a cat. It's really cool. T'Challa's first mission as king is to apprehend Claw and bring him to Wakanda for trial for his crimes against Wakanda, which leads to the casino scene I talked about, and also one of the coolest car chases ever. I mean, T'Challa's sister Shuri remote controls a car all the way from Africa that's in Korea. And that sets up how powerful Wakandan technology is. That's how powerful vibranium is. Because they've been working vibranium for thousands of years, it's almost like the spice melange from Dune, where it's in everything. The only thing they don't do is eat it or inhale it. And just to touch on Claw, or Andy Serkis more accurately, he's having a ball in this film. He's just hamming it up, and it is absolutely awesome. He's probably my favorite part of the movie, as short of a role he has in it. Especially his arm cannon, it's really cool. And also in this movie you get to see Bilbo and Gollum reunited. All joking aside, it is great to see Andy Serkis outside of a mocap suit. He's Gollum, which really started the whole motion capture thing, or revolutionized it really. He's King Kong in the Peter Jackson version. He's Caesar in the Planet of the Apes movies. And he's Snoke. He's probably a few other characters, but those are the notable ones that I can remember. Unfortunately, I can't remember the actor who's playing CIA agent. I don't know why I just didn't make him MI6. The actor's British, and his American accent's good. It's not really distracting, but wouldn't it just been simpler to make him an MI6 agent? At one point, we come to the challenge between N'Jadaka and T'Challa, which is even more of a nail-biter, because this one really could have gone either way. Because T'Challa could have won, captured N'Jadaka, and he could have escaped and still wreak havoc that way. Because one of T'Challa's advisors and friends doesn't agree with him. He agrees with N'Jadaka, and he could have had him break him out. There's just so many different ways this could have gone. But it was still surprising when T'Challa lost and it happened that way. I'm kind of a storyteller myself, and so I see different ways it could have happened. And of course, this fight is the most brutal. Oh my goodness, is it brutal. After Eric wins, he goes through the ritual of becoming the Black Panther, which is, there's this plant called, I think it's called the heart plant, or, I'm sorry, I can't remember. But it looks like a heart, a purple heart. And there's this bulb or seed in the middle of it that gets removed and grinded up, and the person who becomes Black Panther drinks it and lays in, it's either clay or sand, some kind of dirt that they lay in, and they go to the ancestral plane. T'Challa did this as well, and now you get to see Eric do it. And the ancestral plane normally is in Wakanda, and you see the former kings and queens and Black Panthers of Wakanda. In this instance, so, because he's not from Wakanda really, his bloodline is, but Eric is not. He's from Oakland, California. His vision takes place in his old apartment, and they start out showing him as an adult, and then they show him as a child, and he sees his father, N'Jobu. And they have a very touching moment there. This movie is very, very touching. It really pulls at the heartstrings, because it's very Shakespearean with the love and the portrayal and whose side are you on? Because once N'Jadaka becomes king, Okoye, who is the general of the Wakandan army and the personal bodyguard of the king, her heart is with T'Challa's family and friends, but she serves Wakanda, she serves the throne. And so there's a divide there, and it's this movie is masterfully done. Back to Undajaka becoming Black Panther. Once he gets the powers, he orders the people that watch over this garden to destroy everything because he doesn't plan on anyone else taking the throne. But before it gets completely burnt, Nakia, I believe the love interest is Nakia, steals a bulb from the plant so she can use it for what they think is going to be for M'Baku, which would have been really cool. Another aspect, another thing that could have been told. I like what-if stories. Just little sidetrack. When I collect comics, and I don't have many, I love one-shot stories, and especially DC Elseworlds. I love those. So seeing M'Baku take the herb and fight for Wakanda would have been equally awesome. You find out one of his fishermen has found the body of T'Challa withering away in the river. And he brought him to M'Baku, and he had him put in snow, and that's what's keeping him alive. And so his mother, T'Challa's sister and love interest, and CIA Coulson, it's either that or call him Bilbo, administered the herb to him, and they cover him up, and he sees his father and the fellow kings and queens of Wakanda, and he chastises them, like, the way we've been doing things our entire existence has been wrong. We need to evolve and help the world instead of being such isolationists, because the world is coming to a head. It's coming to a point where if we don't help the world, everyone's doomed. It doesn't matter how much technology we have, everyone's doomed, because he kind of has an inkling of what the Avengers have been dealing with. And he also points out that his father was wrong for leaving Eric behind and not bringing him, because it just, look at the problem it created. And so he leaves his ancestors and he comes back as the Black Panther, and he talks to M'Baku before he goes off to fight for Wakanda, and first thanks him for doing this great favor for him. And M'Baku's like, you spared my life, I saved your life, the debt is paid. But he also asks for help because he doesn't have an army. It's just him and like 5 people. And M'Baku says, I did my part. I'm not helping you beyond this. But you find out later he does help them out. He's a cool guy. Comes to the climactic battle, the civil war between the Wakandans, which is really cool because there's also these rhinos that are pretty sure are bigger than rhinos outside Wakanda, and they're armored, and they're just running amok on the field. And there's also a funny point where one of them charges at M'Baku, but Okoye gets in the way, and it stops immediately because it's like her pet or something like that, and it licks her. It's pretty funny. But also, you see T'Challa and Undajaka fall into the mines where the vibranium is shipped out via these trains, and Shorty, who is a genius engineer, developed these reflectors to stabilize the vibranium going through it, or else it's not safe. And T'Challa comes up with the idea of turning on the train, so both of them have a disadvantage of their vibranium suits turning on and off because of the field. And it's another epic fight. Not nearly as fun as the casino one, but it's really, really cool. And the way T'Challa wins is like, I did not see that coming. There's a dagger between them, and at one point, it gets up in the air, T'Challa catches it and stabs Undajaka in the heart while the train's going through, and it's phasing the vibranium out of the way so he can do it. And just like the audience, you can see that Eric is completely caught off guard. But he also compliments T'Challa on it, like, pretty cool move, showing that he does have a level of respect for T'Challa. And then he goes into how his dad always told him he would bring him to Wakanda and show him the most beautiful place on earth that has the perfect sunsets every single time. And you can see that T'Challa, he feels for his cousin. His heart is broken, and he wants to do anything for him in his last moments. So he takes an elevator up to the cave entrance where there's this huge Black Panther sculpture out of the rock. And admittedly, I know it's a sad scene, but I had to stop myself from laughing because it's a huge sunset, and there's 2 Black Panthers up there, and I just could not help but think of the opening scene to Lion King. And if you think about it, these movies really are a mirror image of each other. They're very similar stories, which, on a side note, if you want to watch a live action version of Lion King, watch Black Panther. I don't have much faith in Disney's live action adaptations of their animated movies. The only one that I've liked so far is Christopher Robin. End side note. So yeah, I had to contain myself from laughing because I just thought of that in my head, and I was like, okay, this is a sad scene, calm down. And it is a beautiful scene between the two cousins. T'Challa's like, we can still save you, maybe. And Eric's like, why? So I can live in a prison for the rest of my life? No. Bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who knew it was better to die than to live in bondage. And he removes the blade from his chest and he falls over. Black Panther is a roller coaster of fun and emotion, and I highly recommend you buy the collector's edition. Thankfully, a Blu-ray collector's edition did come out, so I got it. If for whatever reason it's still not available, I would say just get it on Blu-ray. It's definitely worth it. If you have a 4K player, I recommend you get it on 4K. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Black Panther. Is it one of your top Marvel movies like mine, or does it rank somewhere else? If you like what you saw, like it. If you think other people like it, share it. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and live your imagination.